The Eagles inked their final signing before training camp today. Meanwhile, a couple other guys around the league go unsigned. Could the Birds swoop in and make a play? We'll break it all down right here. What is going on, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Philly, your number one home for Eagles coverage. As always, hit the like button if you enjoy the show. Be sure to subscribe and also ring that bell down below. That way you don't miss any of the coverage. Today we're back, and the Eagles finally ink their signing to make all the rookies under contract here before training camp. It is official. Meanwhile, a lot of controversy going on around the league. We'll debate a little bit. We'll discuss and talk about whether Howie Roseman should go out and try to make one more big move before training camp. Before we jump into it, though, shout out to our sponsor of today's video, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only. New customer offer. Bonus bets expires 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. RB back, bringing you another one from the link, fresh off the stove. Boom. Kelee Ringo finally signs with the Philadelphia Eagles, 4th round draft pick. And now, as it says here on the Eagles Twitter page, all 7 of the team's 2023 draft picks are now under contract. Sometimes these things go longer than others. Obviously, they want to put, little incentives or little clauses in there to make sure that their, prospects are getting the most out of these deals. So definitely understand it. Glad they were able to finally, pack down the business side of it. But Kelee Ringo is going to be exciting. The whole Georgia Bulldogs team coming to the Eagles is going to be exciting, and I'm excited for training camp. I think, once we start to really dive into it, get these little, footage clips and really hear from the media who are there watching it live and direct, about who looks good or who's jumping off the field, who's jumping off the videos, and really who looks like they took those major steps. I think we'll, kind of be able to formulate, depth charts and just really think about where we're at going forward. But speaking of the depth chart, could the Eagles get one final boost? Well, today around the league, the 4 p.m. Eastern time deadline to sign the extensions happened, and a couple guys went unsigned, a couple guys that have a direct impact on the Philadelphia Eagles. So Saquan Barkley did not reach a long-term extension with the New York Giants. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about that, right? They signed Daniel Jones. Would they sign Saquon? And they did not. Meanwhile, around the league as well, Tony Pollard for the Dallas Cowboys did not reach an agreement on a long-term extension before today's 4 p.m. deadline, and Pollard will now have to play on his 1-year franchise deal before becoming a free agent in 2024. To be honest with you, I thought the Saquon one could go either way, but the Tony Pollard one is very surprising, right? They let Zeke go. Now, maybe this will bring it all full circle. Maybe Zeke ends up going back to Dallas now. I don't know what their plans are. I just know the Cowboys are a funny organization, and it's just like them to do something like this. Maybe they'll come to an agreement eventually, but yeah, I love it. I love it, right? Uncertainty with the division rivals. But yeah, I was definitely surprised. I thought they would ink Pollard and finally say goodbye, wave goodbye for sure to Ezekiel Elliott. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Adam Schefter puts here on Twitter, in the end, 3 franchise tag players received long-term deals this offseason: Lamar Jackson, Deron Payne, and Evan Ingram, but no long-term deals for franchise players Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, and who is the last one? Josh Jacobs. Now, Josh Jacobs, in my opinion, is one of the best running backs in the league. He goes underrated. I still don't think he's really been in a winning culture, a winning environment. And Schefter reported here on Twitter as well that Josh Jacobs obviously did not reach an agreement with the Raiders. And let me ask you guys this. Is there a running back problem in the NFL? Like, these guys are productive, right? A lot of, production early on in their career. They're very, value adding, and they make your team a lot better, and they bring a lot to the table. And obviously they have a short shelf life, but at the end of the day, they never get paid, right? Even a couple years ago with Derrick Henry, who might be one of the best running backs ever talent-wise, could not reach an agreement for a while. And man, it's weird to see, but I understand it from both sides. Like, owners who are trying to, build a winning contender don't really want to spend that much on a running back because, as they say, they're a dime a dozen. You can get them in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. But then again, when you have game changers like this, you go pay them and sometimes they don't work out, like an Ezekiel Elliott, who really, did not pan out in terms of the value of that contract. So it's a tough thing, but from the player's standpoint, I absolutely understand, maybe not showing up to camp and wanting to demand that money. So I don't know. Should there be like some kind of stipulation in place to where a running back potentially has to make a certain amount based on stats? Maybe that could be something that they look into. I don't know, but it is kind of unfair from both sides. And I do think it's a problem right now. But speaking of Josh Jacobs, Schefter reports here as a follow-up that with no long-term deal being reached today, Josh Jacobs is not expected to report to training camp with the rest of his team. He said the same thing about Saquon. There could be a decision there not to show up. Tony Pollard did sign the franchise tag, but as for Barkley and Jacobs, they did not. And it says the Raiders are not expected to see Jacobs until later this summer. If then, Jacobs will have decisions to make as to when he is willing to report. And Schefter also said that this will not, cause them to lose any money until they miss actual games. So they do have some time to kind of make decisions here. But, Josh Jacobs has kind of been unhappy now for a year or two. And when you look at his stats, 4 years in the NFL, he's the exact running back that you want on your roster, right? 4 years, 3 of those years, he went above 1,000 yards. This past year, he had over 1,600 yards on the ground, 12 touchdowns. He's a every down back, and he's exactly what you want. He's exactly what you want on your team. And this guy is one of the best in the league. Meanwhile, he cannot even get a contract from his team. And, they're just butting heads. I don't think he's really been happy there. The Eagles right now have a lot of running backs on their roster. Would it make sense to go out, get Josh Jacobs? You'd have to give up assets, probably pay him if you want to keep him around after this season. Maybe the Eagles don't. Maybe they just say, let's push all the chips in again, right? Kind of the final hoorah and try to go back to the Super Bowl. Maybe that's an idea, but Josh Jacobs is probably a guy you want to keep around at least for a couple years. So they would have to go out, probably give up assets, and then pay him on top of that. Is it worth it? A lot of people said it was not when it came down to Derrick Henry. Meanwhile, keep in mind, though, Henry is 28, 29 years old, whereas Jacobs is a lot younger. It would be nice to have a game-changing back on this roster again. I thought Miles Sanders was kind of underutilized because the Eagles do tend to go with that committee of a running back. But they have a lot of productive backs on the roster right now. Gainwell, the Scotts of the world, right? They go out, they sign Penny, they go out, and obviously they have DeAndre Swift. So do I think this is going to happen? Probably not. But could I see Howie Roseman trying to find any little intricate way to go out, put a deal together, right? Probably move salary around for 6 different years and make this feasible. Yeah, I could see that because I know the desire. I see it. I hear it when it comes to Howie Roseman and this organization. They got there. They were very close, and they want to find a way to get back and ensure that they do. Josh Jacobs obviously would not have the same value. He would not have the same role here in Philadelphia. And, with Jalen Hurts, the rest of the weapons on this offense, he's not going to be the same kind of back that he's been, but he could be very valuable. And, obviously he would be just another dynamic game changer on the Eagles offense if used correctly. So it's not something I'm opposed to, but I just don't see it happening right now based on who the Eagles have bodies wise on this team. But you never know. It's very interesting to see what's going on around the league based on the running back situation. I'm more, locked in on what's going to happen with Saquon Barkley and Tony Pollard, because if they botch those situations, it could get very, very sticky for some of those other teams in the NFC East. So we'll wait and see what happens, man. But give me all your thoughts down below in the comment section. As always, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.